G'day everyone, it's been a big week in the car world. In fact, a massive week. I'm Thean, let's get into this. 30 cars were stolen in Victoria yesterday. Not last year, yesterday. And the crooks didn't need to break a window, pick a lock, or even touch your keys. We're going to dig into why it's happening and who's being targeted. Plus, I'll delve into what you can do right now today to stop these high-tech crooks from walking away with your car. Something more positive, the Pajero is back, baby. For real this time, I sat down with Mitsubishi Australia and got the date, the specs, and the price they're gunning for. People are losing their minds, and rightly so, it should be a cracker. Plus, Toyota's baby ute has finally been confirmed. Well, not by Toyota officially, but we've got spy photos. Is this the long-awaited Toyota Stout? In other Toyota news, a scorching GRMN hot hatch has been confirmed for Australia coming 2027, manual only, 2 seats only. This thing is going to be full on. An electric car just outsold the Ford Ranger, not by a little, by 1,200 units. If you own a ute, if you've got a diesel in your driveway, the data we're looking at today is going to affect your next purchase. We've got rapid fire news coming at the end, wrapping up all the smaller bits I couldn't get to in detail, including Audi's new exotic V8 supercar. This is going to be cool. Anyway, it's a massive week. Buckle up. Technology is supposed to make our lives easier. Keyless entry, for example. Brilliant idea, right? No fumbling in your pocket or your bag for the keys when it's wet. You just walk up and the car opens. Magic.
Just like in Star Trek. Oh!
Well, turns out it's also pretty magic for car thieves. And Victoria has been named the car theft capital of Australia. The Insurance Council of Australia confirmed that more than $243 million was paid out last year across almost 13,000 claims. That's big. That's almost $250 million gone. That is massive. And you can imagine what that's doing to insurance premiums. So between 2024 and 2025, Victoria recorded a 25% increase in theft claims and a 37% increase in associated costs. That is massive, whichever way you look at it. That's 1/4 going up in terms of car theft claims. Meanwhile, other states are trending down. Victoria's trending up. Not a great look. Anyway, Victoria police are pointing the finger at electronic theft. This is high-tech car robbery. Robbery? Thefting, thieving, pilfering. So we've got key cloning, key mimicking, and reprogramming devices that basically imitate a key. So these techno doodads will basically access a car's electronic systems. They can override security and you can essentially program a new key. And then the downshot rather than the upshot is that the crims drive away with your car. They don't have to break a window. They don't have to do anything. It's kind of like high-tech hacking. And this is without your keys ever leaving your house. More than 10,000 vehicles were stolen last year in Victoria, and that's 30 vehicles every day using this method. And that is the highest level since 2001, 25 years. That's not a good number. And how's this? Victoria Police reckons 30 to 40% of all car thefts in Victoria are via these high-tech, almost hands-free electronic methods. Now, organised crime is very much in the picture here. In March, Victoria Police's Vehicle Crime Squad busted an alleged international syndicate. They're saying more than 150 vehicles worth more than $20 million exported overseas. Now, this was also in conjunction with another bust-up that happened in Queensland. And it's the same syndicate that's believed to have started in Victoria, then moved to Queensland when the heat was on, and they stole a further 60 vehicles in Queensland: Prados, RAV4s, Land Cruisers, essentially sending them to Dubai in cargo containers, in container ships. Queensland Police Acting Inspector Russell Joyce said, and I quote, "This was an extremely complex operation with a disciplined international syndicate allegedly targeting vehicles for personal gain." Yes, this is big business. It arrested 7 foreign nationals. There were more than 300 offences involved. It's kind of getting out of control. It's full on. Interestingly, the most stolen vehicle in Queensland in 2024 was the Toyota Land Cruiser. Food for thought. If you've got one, you might want to take a few precautions. Other states, however, are doing better. Queensland thefts were down 12%. That's the biggest drop on record. And this comes about after the northern state launched Operation Yankee Forge, charging more than 2,000 offenders with over 5,000 offences in 2 weeks. That is a bit of a sting, a bit of a strike. In South Australia, they have the Stop Car Theft program, which is paired with police and the RAAA. Western Australia also made government-approved immobilisers compulsory on registration. Does Victoria need to adopt similar endeavours? But there are things you can do now. Number 1, a Faraday pouch. Your key fob constantly broadcasts a signal. Thieves can intercept, relay and amplify that signal from outside your front door. The car thinks the key is right there, even though they're tapping into it while the key is in your house. So they basically stand by the front door, front window, back door, something like that, scanning for these frequencies. A Faraday pouch basically blocks all RF signals if it's tight, if it's sealed. They cost between $10 and $30 at online retailers, and it's also worth putting your spare key in one of these as well, because that is often where they get the signal from as well. Number 2, an OBD port lock. Now, this is a little bit more complicated. The diagnostics port underneath your dash is how reprogramming devices get in, and you can lock that physically. That's another option. That's what Victoria Police are recommending. Your mechanical service department might be able to help you with one of these. And finally, there are the classics. There's the club lock. There is CCTV cameras. Park your car in a well-lit area. If you wanted to go really full on, you could get a wheel clamp, I guess. Nothing an angle grinder couldn't get through, but it's worth a try. And ultimately, old school still does work. Visual deterrents are quite powerful against car thieves. Okay, back to the bad news, and Victoria Police has confirmed which suburbs in Victoria are being hardest hit by these high-tech car theft systems. And I'll read it in order from Victoria Police. Melbourne CBD, Dandenong, Tarneit, Narre Warren, St Albans, Craigieburn, South Bank, Reservoir, Truganina and Epping. So if you're in any of these suburbs, a Faraday pouch is a good start. Clearly, Victoria has a problem, and until policy and policing catch up, protect your own car. Do what you can. Sadly, right now, the crims are better equipped than the response. Right, let's wash off the crime wave and talk about something positive, something good. The Mitsubishi Pajero is being resurrected like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Everyone is absolutely losing it, which is good and bad for Mitsubishi because anticipation is getting pretty intense. And if it's not really good and really competitive at least, that could be a letdown. Anyway, Mitsubishi Australia's product planning GM Bruce Hampel said it plainly, you'll get your Pajero by Christmas. And more definitively, and I quote, we'll be bringing the Pajero name back, he told me. And this puts to rest any lingering doubt that badge was going to get shelved. They had the Pajero Sport. That sort of died a quiet death. Sort of being reinvented, if you like. It's bigger, it's better, it's bolder. The dealer reaction has been, in Hampel's own words, overwhelming. And I quote, there's no doubt that the Pajero holds a special place in Mitsubishi's DNA, which we're seeing reflected in the overwhelming dealer interest and online commentary since last week's announcement. And the internet agrees. The announcement posts on carsales social channels pulled 3,700 likes, 300 comments, and 130 shares in a matter of days. A lot of people are very excited. For a car reveal announcement, that is the kind of engagement that most brands would kill for. We haven't even seen what it looks like yet. We're just using rendered mock-ups, and there's only really the headlight sort of motif that has been officially confirmed, yet everyone is frothing. So what are we actually getting? Well, the vehicle will make its global debut in the third quarter of 2026. We're thinking August, September, something like that. And then first deliveries will happen in Australia in December. It's built on the Mitsubishi Triton pickup trucks platform. So it's a ladder chassis, ladder frame platform. It's going to be built in Thailand. It's going to carry over the 2.4 litre turbo diesel engine from the Triton. And it will also get the Super Select 2 full-time four-wheel drive. So yeah, diesel first, but I'm also hearing we might get some hybrid shenanigans down the track. Interesting. Towing capacity is expected to hit the magic 3.5 tonne number, weighting depth 800 millimetres. This is a proper 4x4 wagon and it will be able to go off-road, no doubt about it. This is not a dressed up crossover with mud flaps. One thing that could be changed is the Triton 6-speed auto. It could be swapped out for an 8-speed auto, we shall see, and that could bring fuel consumption a little bit lower than perhaps where the Triton is right now. Certainly fuel consumption, the price of petrol and diesel is a big concern right now for pretty much everyone. That's what's driving the spike in EVs, which we'll touch on in a minute. There's also going to be some local tuning, some Aussie-specific tweaks, and Hampel said, and I quote, "We've been working closely with MMC to rigorously test the Pajero in Australia's unique conditions, from inner city to outback." Translation, good news for Aussie buyers. Camouflage prototypes of the Pajero have been spotted in cities like Melbourne and Sydney, and also outback as well, showing that they're pretty committed. They're serious about making a go of this. They don't want to be selling small numbers. They want to be taking on the big boys in the large family 4x4 SUV segment. Pricing is under wraps, but I reckon it'll undercut the Toyota Prado, which starts at about 73k. And I think if they can go toe-to-toe with the Everest with a 60k drive-away entry-level price, it's going to be hot property. Perhaps its closest rival will be the Isuzu MU-X, which starts at $55,990 plus on-road costs. So maybe they'll sort of head for that. But you add in Mitsubishi's 10-year warranty, class leading, and it could be a headache for the other established brands in this particular segment. And do not rule out performance variants either. We've seen the Raider in the Triton, which is very impressive. And there's also talk of rally art models potentially. So the Pajero has a big future ahead of it for sure. Ford Everest, Isuzu MU-X, Toyota Prado, you're on notice. The legend's homecoming is nigh. All right, well, the Toyota Prado is going to have its hands full with the new Pajero, but this brand is busy as ever. First up, Toyota's compact ute that fans have been waiting years to see has been spotted in the flesh. So it's been confirmed, not officially, but unofficially. We know it's happening. We've seen it. You can see it. It's on the screen. This is a prototype that many are calling or hypothesizing will be called the Toyota Stout. And it's essentially a Corolla Cross-based compact ute. And it's based on a car-like frame rather than a rugged ladder chassis. It's a compact, it's a monocoque setup. So it's been spotted testing in Sao Paulo in Brazil, and this is the first physical SUV-based ute prototype we've seen from Toyota. This is big news. Now, before you get too excited, this particular vehicle looks like it's aiming squarely at Central and South American new car markets. Brazil is arguably the hotspot for compact utes. They sell hundreds of thousands a year, and you've got stuff like the Fiat Toro, the Ram Rampage, the Ford Maverick, the Chevrolet Montana. They all live in Brazil. They're all rather well loved. So it makes total sense that Toyota wants a slice of this particular pie. Question is, will Australia get the new Stout or whatever they call it, this little Toyota ute? Well, here's how it looks. Ford hasn't bothered bringing the Maverick here. Hyundai hasn't bothered bringing the Santa Cruz either. But Toyota is not Ford and they are not Hyundai either. And in my mind, I'd say this Toyota is more likely to come to Australia than those other two competing models. Time will tell. Speaking of Toyota not messing around, say good day to the new 2027 Toyota GRMN Corolla. This thing isn't a hot hatch. This is a psycho hatch. Hectic hatch. It's a hectic hatch. It's wonderfully unhinged. It's manual only. The rear seats have been taken out. It's pretty cool. It looks tough. It packs 221 kilowatts from its 3-cylinder turbo engine, which is the same as before, but 408 newton meters, an 8 newton meter bump. So they've obviously done a little bit of tweaking to the engine, plus 40 kilograms lighter by deleting the rear seats. You've got the 2-seat layout, and it's also got some pretty sweet looking racing bucket seats in there as well. This looks like the real deal. Arriving in Australia next year in very limited numbers. You can get it in 2 colours. You can get it in matte black or an exclusive khaki, or as they'd say in the US, khaki. This is an historic moment for the Australian car industry because for the first time ever, an EV was the #1 seller. That's right, the Tesla Model Y topped the May 2026 sales list, beating out every other car. More of these were registered in Australia than any other, and it's a milestone moment. So the Tesla Model Y sold 5,605 units in 1 month. That's almost 1,200 units clear of the Ford Ranger in second place. That's a big gap, and 1,600 sales ahead of the Toyota Hilux in third. So the Ford Ranger's reign at the top is over. Well, at least for the month of May. We have seen in the past, though, that Tesla's sales numbers very much change depending on how many vehicles are coming in on boats. So next month it might not even be in the top 10. We shall see. Some more new car sales factoids. Of the almost 107,000 vehicles delivered last month, almost 50,000 of them were meaningfully electrified. So that's 46.4% of the entire market. That's big. Now, that breakdown of the almost 50% of electrified vehicles is about 21,000 pure EVs, about 19,000 hybrids, and about 9,000 PHEVs. The flip side of this argument is that petrol and diesel sales are going down, and very, very quickly. Petrol vehicles were down 27.1% last month, year on year, and diesels were down almost 30%, 29.8%. Those are big numbers. Some other interesting takeouts is that 4 of the top 10 brands were Chinese, and this is the new reality in the Australian new car market. Now, while Tesla grabbed the headlines, the real story is BYD. Toyota was still comfortably on top with over 16,000 sales in May 2026. But at just over 8,000 sales, BYD was the only brand to get within half of Toyota's total. They finished second overall. BYD has now recorded more than 25,000 sales in Australia for the first part of 2026, and that growth is around 110%. This brand is booming. And if this current sales trajectory holds, it'll sell around 90,000 vehicles this year, which will put it within striking distance of Ford and Mazda, traditionally the second and third on the ladder for annual sales. And BYD is not messing around when it comes to logistics either. It's delivering a lot of vehicles and it needs to make sure it does the right thing by customers. And BYD allows owners to track their vehicle as soon as it's on the boat. The BYD Promise Portal lets you follow the vessel's journey in real time. And Toyota, take note, this is how you build customer excitement before the delivery of the vehicle occurs. And if you have long waiting lists, it also removes some of that frustration from both the dealers and the owners. So some sort of automated system like this, I think all car brands are going to have it. They're going to have to match BYD with this. Okay, last but not least, rapid fire news updates. Let's get into it. Yes, that was Wiggles. Kids love them. The Audi Nuvolari. This thing looks wild. It's kind of like an R8 successor. 736 kilowatts, 0 to 100 in 2.6 seconds. It'll go faster than 350 kilometers an hour. This thing is going to be a weapon. And apparently 400 kilograms of downforce. There's a lot going on, but they're only going to build 499 units globally. And it hasn't been confirmed for Australia. We're hoping we do get a handful of them, and we probably will because we do buy a lot of high performance cars. Mitsubishi Triton Raider, I reviewed it last week. Premcar's done a fantastic job with the brand making this a much, much better ute. Yes, the 150 kilowatt diesel is a bit of a letdown, but the rest of it is very, very impressive, and it's about 75k drive away. I think it's one of the better tough trucks on the market right now. Speaking of tough trucks, we also got to test the VW Amarok W600. This is Walkinshaw's on-road Amarok. This is not like a Raptor Ranger or a Triton Raider basher. This thing is designed for on-road enjoyment. Corner carving, it's a bit weird, but it kind of works. So it's got Koni dampers, Michelin Pilot Sport 4s, and tarmac level grip like nothing else in the segment. Is there a market for this? I think there is. Anyway, that thing's got 184 kilowatts, 600 newton meters of torque. It launches in August and prices will be north of $83,000. Cadillac, the Escalade. Guess what? It's not coming. Damn. It's going to be popular. I could have elevated the brand. Anyway, GM's Jess Barla told us right now there are no plans to bring the Escalade or Escalade IQ to market. The IQ model is the full EV version, and they are huge yank tanks. The Vistic electric SUV is the consolation prize, officially dubbed the Baby Escalade. And when you look at it, the Yukon Denali has only sold 156 units thus far this year. That kind of says it all. You've got to make a business case for these things, and if people aren't going to buy them. But then again, I kind of feel like the Escalade name has a lot more brand cachet than the Yukon Denali, but that's just me. Well, that's another week in the car world, and as always, it's very dynamic. There's a lot happening. Thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Subscribing, liking, and commenting helps us do more of this stuff, so feel free to get involved. We love reading what you guys type. It is good fun.